I've been wondering for a while if it's time to buy a new AMG G63, and today I'm going to test drive the ultimate G-Wagon. Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello, welcome back to the channel. You join me here at Luxury Cars Hamburg, where we're going to be checking out the new German Classic Design GCD 920. Now come on in, because the showroom is filled with some incredible cars, the likes of a new BMW 3-litre CSL, Lamborghini Aventador Ultimate, Aston Martin Vanquish Zagato Shooting Brake, and more, of course, including the GCD 920 with some amazing details, incredibly aggressive design, and lots more that we're going to go through today with a full look around the showroom, a full tour of the new G-Wagon, and then get it out onto the road to go see what it's like. Here at Luxury Cars Hamburg, there are so many things to see, some cars with extraordinary specifications, and later on I want to take you for a tour. You're going to be amazed at what we're going to see. But first up, we have to touch on this. The first time I've been up close and personal with one of these, the new BMW 3-litre CSL, the homage to the original Batmobile, only 50 of them to celebrate 50 years of BMW M, the most expensive new BMW ever on sale. Pretty cool thing when you're looking at it in person. Also here we've got all of the luxury SUVs, the G-Wagons from Brabus, also stock. We've got the GLEs, RSQ8s, Bentegas, G-Wagons, Range Rovers. We've also got more Bentleys, Mercedes, and so much more. Over the other side is where you find the supercars, including the Super G that we're going to take a look at today. Coming through, we have a casual Lamborghini Huracan Technica in satin black, and then we move to the two German Classic Design GCD 920s. Now there are some differences between these two cars. This one you'll spot doesn't have the optional light bar and spoiler, but effectively it comes as one full package. And the idea behind it, this being the one that I'm about to be driving by the way, is to offer something that's even more exclusive, even more bespoke, even more premium than anything else out there. And the attention to detail is second to none. I want to show you some of the highlights before we're going to dive into everything even more fully. For example here, the front grille with these aggressive front slats, and notice that shape, is actually one piece with the surround. Down below it, at the front, check out how they've integrated the logo to the mesh down there in the lower bumper. Come back up to the bonnet, the hood, and you have these intakes with this cut back in the design in one-piece carbon fiber. That's not easy to achieve. Then when it comes to talking about the cohesive design, take a look at the wheels and spot what I was just saying about the front and the way those shapes have been integrated. Come through, we have elements like even here on the door handles, love that G-Wagon door handle, the G graphic that we have there as well, and then get to the interior. This is quite something, and it carries all the way through. For example, the way everything's tumbling into the car, painted on there. Come inside, look at these seats. The way these have perforations, embroideries, and all the other design elements, that's not easy to put together as well. All of the colors up towards the roof, the headliner, and a lot to talk about. In fact, you're going to be amazed what's underneath the skin of all of this when we start going through it in a lot more detail. But before we get to running through all of this, and before I take it out for a drive, I do want to show you a little bit more around the showroom here at Luxury Cars Hamburg to go see what we can find. I guarantee that there is going to be something in here that takes your fancy, starting right there. The AMG GT 4-door 63S E Performance. So the hybrid, ridiculously powerful version of this car. Giveaways are the red badging, the surrounds here, and of course the charging flap that you have at the back. But that is actually painted. This is not a wrap. The color is Kalahari Gold Magno. So you can see what I was saying about specifications, including this, the Brabus 900E in this custom light gray paint over the orange interior. I think that's one of the first 900 packages for the latest E-Class. Then we've got even more orange, bit of a theme, because many of the cars from here at Luxury Cars Hamburg are exported to Middle Eastern markets, to Africa, heading all around the world. But a run of 4, we have a Brabus 800, 900, and two 800s. Then two Brabus GLEs. We've got the coupe and the SUV. The pair of Audi RSQ8s, very similar, of course, to the Lamborghini Urus. Then a couple of Bentley Bentegas, a few more G63s, the Range Rover. We've got a little army of BMW M SUVs, two X6M competitions, and the X7 in the center. We've got a couple of Bentleys, Continental for GT flying spur. We have a new S63 Maybach. That's an SLS Roadster GT Final Edition, very rare machine. Over here, two of the brand new facelifted GLEs. We have the coupe and the SUV, another Maybach, this whole lounge, comfortable feel around the showroom. This is a Brabus 930 GT 4-door, full 930 horsepower spec. And of course this, which has really grabbed my attention because, like I said earlier, I haven't really spent any time around it yet, and it's a big celebration for BMW M. The Heritage, and this is all painted, by the way, livery on the exterior, and we have permission today to take a look and open up some of the cars as well, but fitting the manual gearbox with the 3-litre twin-power turbo inline-6 engine, the 3-litre CSL reborn in this very special machine. And you've got these carbon fiber bucket seats, all of the details, bespoke central tunnel. I would love to get behind the wheel and take one of these for a drive at some point, but this throwback 1970s style design on the bodywork, very, very cool. But let me take you through to the other side to go see some of the supercars. I have got to say, this is a cool showroom. Boardroom, meeting room area, and then the cars. Lamborghini Aventador SV Roadster, one of 500. Lamborghini Aventador Ultimate in Verde Hermes, stunning color over the gold wheels, one of only 350 of the coupes. Huracan STO, that is a bold color scheme. We have a pair of Rolls-Royce Cullinans in the black over red and black over white. Then some Ferraris, SF90 Spider, 296 GTB, another SF90 Spider as well, in fact. Come back, Lamborghini Huracan Evo Spider, Rolls-Royce Ghost tucked in back there, 991.2 GT3 RS in Lizard Green, the Lamborghini Huracan Technica that we saw earlier, the Astons just behind, the DBS, and here, the Aston Martin Vanquish Zagato Shooting Brake, one of only 99 that they made. The 4 different styles, 4 different body styles that Aston Martin and Zagato partnered up for, always had a soft spot for what they did with this and some of the design elements and details. The workshop is super clean and tidy. Pair of Ferrari Romas just there at the moment, and then this side, 2 AMGs getting some Brabus upgrade packages installed right here, including the 4x4 squared, again in green Hell Magno, waiting for its wide arches and parts to be featured. We've got another little lounge area there. The showroom is very, very nice, but we need to go through these in more detail. These are brand new. This is the first opportunity to be looking at the German Classic Design G-Wagons, the GCD 920. Now, as the name suggests, 920 horsepower. My old G had about 725. This is 200 horsepower more and about 1,060 Newton meters. So to get that power, and I'll pop open the engine, obviously it's a turbocharger upgrade, exhaust system upgrade. This car wears the Export exhaust system, and you'll spot down here the side pipes with those hexagonal tailpipe finishes. Again, the themes that you'll see around the car. When you start to look at the different shapes up here, again, hexagonal shapes down the sides of the scoops, around towards the front, similarly here, and even the way they've done this, the way that piece comes almost through the carbon blade that runs across it. Again, we've got the hexagonal wrapping around the front. Obviously the lower front end, all carbon fiber bodywork, the wide arches, it sits very, very wide, ginormous wheels with the floating center caps, obviously the bright orange brake calipers behind to match the interior of this particular car, but these elements matching perfectly with the same design that you see here. Now, what impressed me the most about this piece is that the outside areas are painted in the vintage grey paint that you have here, but this is one piece of carbon fiber. All of these uprights, which replace the Americana style front grille that you have from AMG, are made from the same bit of carbon as the surround. They're then painted in black on the inside to give that effect as you're looking at it. That is attention to detail. Down here again, all carbon fiber, all of the parts that you see, new bespoke carbon fiber up top, the light bar, and the reason this is an option is exactly what I've experienced myself. It's quite a tall car to help with garages where there might not be enough space, but the idea is that this comes as a full conversion package. You get the whole thing with all of the exterior modifications, the full interior, the total upgrades to the vehicle. Is also an 820 horsepower version available that is TÜV approved for here in Germany too beyond that. Around here, big problems when creating and developing a body kit like this, add-ons for a car, are, for example, how you deal with the blind spot monitoring sensors, which can't work through carbon fiber. So they've very, very well integrated that down here discreetly into the back of the bumper, so you still have the working technology, something that often fails. Take a look at the wing at the back. Look at that design. It feels in some ways to me like the back of the Bolide, Bugatti's race car, with these X shapes. A 7-piece rear spoiler made to be even more aggressive than anything else that's out there. And of course, we've got the embossed style logo back here as well for GCD. Similar design elements that float around the side before we get to the interior. And this is where there's so much more. Obviously, I touched on some of this earlier on, but it's when you really start to look at it, the way the colors are done, the way that you have this orange, black, orange, black, orange, black, orange, black, this theme running all the way down through the car, something that hasn't been done like that, especially with the A-pillars in the upper part of the dash before. Obviously, the wraparound of the double digital screens that you have up front, the door inserts, every part, every panel, all bespoke, all customized when it comes to colors, choices, options. This is not easy to do. The perforation, again with the logo, wrapped around with the embroidery. To bring both of those onto the same part is not an easy feat either. This is painted underneath the lacquer. That's not just a vinyl or something that's stuck on. That is actually painted onto that trim panel that you have there at the side. Down the footwells, the floor mats finished to the same, the central tunnel, of course the illuminated side steps, and in fact talking about illumination, you also spot the logos there on the wider carbon wheel arches. Perforation also on the steering wheel with the same design again carried through. In fact, every single surface or thing that you look at in here continues this, and it's all quite subtle, like here. German Classic Design, the subtle embossing of that on the center stripe that runs up through the seat. If I show you in the back of it as well, take a look back here, again, finished to the same standards up front when it comes to the trims, the designs, the inlays, but check out the roof. Check out the roof of this. We've got the embroidery up there on this ginormous single hide of leather that runs all the way through. And in fact, what I want to do is come and just start this for a moment. Got the key right here, pop that inside, because when it's on inside here, one press for power, one press for the ignition, let me come and show you what the roof of this looks like with the custom headliner that's been installed, running all the way from the back through to the front. That is cool. That is very nicely done. The bespoke level of detail. I think that's the thing I really need to emphasize here, even down to badges that you spot there, down here, all around actually come through to the front. You've got the badge just here, again powered by G. Let me just open it up very quickly if I remember where the release is down here. Give that a pull because I'd like to come and show you the engine. The power plant, the 4-litre bi-turbo V8, which produces this whopping 920 horsepower. So new turbochargers, new exhaust system, in the case of this car for export, making 920 horsepower, in fact over 920, and 1060 newton meters of torque. Permanent all-wheel drive, the 9-speed automatic gearbox, the AMG speed shift gearbox, but basically taking it to a pretty extreme level. And that is why in a moment we will get this started, we will take it out, even popping their own powered by German Classic Design badging on there as well. And I will go and experience this for myself to share with you what it is like out on the road. Before we take this out, something to show you inside that car and a few of the other differences. I mentioned the wing and the light bar, which are optional with the package. We have very different wheels here. They are enormous 24-inch wheels, but these are diamond turned dual tone as opposed to the full gloss black of the other car. But come to the inside and I'll show you what they've done with this. Firstly, again, an example of what can be done in terms of the bespoke finishing with different colors, different details, but I want to show you the roof, and to do so, I'm just going to press the button, switch it on for a moment. Look at this, shooting stars in the headliner, and look at that detail, the illuminated logo in the center of that very large panel that runs all the way down. That is a big height to be able to create that in one piece for the whole upper section of the car, and just the way that it's finished, obviously everything incredible to touch, to feel, to look at, very, very nicely done, especially when you consider you can customize this. If you wanted it black just with some red stitching, also available and can be done with all of these perforations and the embroideries. So one more thing to head back to show you with the other car, then we will be out on the road. When it comes to exclusivity, which is a big part of the idea behind this, one of the things that the guys have come up with at German Classic Design is to include something I can show you here. This is a prototype, but effectively every single car will come with a plaque, a certificate of authenticity, which houses the second key, also has a hologram, it will have the full details. Like I say, this is the early prototype piece, but that's quite fun. Those types of touches that make a car feel even more personal, even more special. Now, one more time, because you can never get bored of it. The closing of the doors. What a sound, right? Let's hear the other amazing sound of this. Get the V8 started and get it outside. I have been told that this is going to sound quite impressive, so let's take a listen. Yep. What a sound. 4-litre bi-turbo V8, valve-controlled exhaust. What a beast. What an absolute beast. Right, let's get this outside. It's going to be my turn to hop into the hot seat. My word. Let's go experience it. The GCD 920. I tell you what, it immediately feels good to be back in a G. To be back in a G63, the sound, the feeling, being sat quite so high up. Of course, in here, the lookout over in front of me with an enormously aggressive pair of hood vents. But off we go past the showroom. It's a really cool place, that, actually, as you look down towards the cars inside, to experience the 920 horsepower G63. This makes my old G63 seem almost like a little bit pedestrian in comparison, but nonetheless, very familiar for me. I did around 17,000 miles with the car that I had before. I owned it for about 3 years, sold it nearly 2 years ago already. Time absolutely flies by. And of course, the update is imminent. There will be a facelifted G Wagon, which will probably be very similar outside, but with updated tech. And the beauty of this is it will be able to work with that as well. But just, we'll warm things up, you know, get used to it. Driving gently, still rides smoothly, even though we've got 24-inch wheels, which are massive. Inside, it's comfortable. I've got the gearbox in auto, so it's just chilling along in comfort mode at this moment in time. Turn it up to sport, and it will drop some gears, start to get a little bit more angry, noisy, and aggressive, and let us know that it means business, basically. Drop some gears for a second. Yeah, I can hear that purring. It's waiting. It's ready. It wants me to have some fun. So let me pop this into a different screen setting and head on out. This is where it starts to get a little bit more fun. Out of town, onto an open road, effortless torque. The power, I mean, 1,060 Newton meters of torque. I cannot overstate how much that is. In mine, it already felt with 900 and something Newton meters that a trailer behind you could pull along with a car in it and barely even notice. In here, it's just immediately like nothing. Like you're just pulling away, off you go, smooth and simple, nice and easy. We're in 8th gear. If we go into Sport Plus, it probably drops it down another one. In fact, I can press in here into manual, start dropping some gears just to This sounds like a beast. Not even going fast. We haven't even fully warmed this thing up yet. That's ridiculous. Middle of the rev range. Not the best weather today, not gonna lie. But still. And this is with windows closed. This is completely windows up. If I put the rear windows down a touch, because obviously the exhaust tailpipes are right outside those. That is nuts. I've never heard a G Wagon sound like this. I've probably got to be careful who I do that next to. Under the tunnel, wow. Okay, let me close the windows for a moment. That is silly, 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 silly loud. So we've got various suspension settings. Pop it back into the softest or comfort setting mode. Could go back into automatic given we're sitting in traffic and chilling. Obviously we've got the exhaust button so you can close it and make it a little bit quieter. That makes a lot of difference. Not sure how much you can hear of that, but obviously gears changing as well doesn't help. That makes a huge amount of difference. And you've still got your G modes. You could technically still off-road, although expensive carbon arches and 24-inch wheels, maybe not the best combination for off-roading, but I don't think that's what this is about. This is a car for, picture the scene, you're in Dubai and everyone has a G63. In fact, everyone has a G63 with a Brabus badge on it, or a Mansouri Vanitas, and you want something that's even more exclusive and even more on the top of the attention to detail side and just a bit different. This is an option that you could certainly consider and look into. And it's just the silly factor, isn't it? It's just the absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if you turn up somewhere in one of these, people are getting out of your way. This is like, I'm here and I'm in business. Move out of my face. And you drive along, I could turn on my heated seats, and I've got a lovely sound system from Burmester and all of the creature comforts that the G Wagon has with it. And I'm just in hysterics at, quite frankly, how absolutely stupid, but how amazing it is. Every time back on the power, there is this cacophony of noise of AMG V8. And obviously when it downsized to the 4-litre bi-turbo V8, I think a lot of people were a bit worried about that, but it turns out you have no problem getting some mega sound out of this thing. And also interestingly, while this car has the export exhaust, the other car that was in the showroom has the TÜV approved exhaust, because GCD are partners of Akrapovic, so it has the Akrapovic exhaust on it, which I can also tell you sounds amazing. This just sounds absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I'm picturing in my head driving somewhere in Saudi or Oman or Kuwait or Qatar or Dubai or something with this, just, yeah, loving life, enjoying it, because this turns normal roads into something fun. This turns like sitting on a straight road into something that's going to put a smile on your face. And I tell you what else, driving here, it's really smooth. I mean, as you'd expect, smooth to pull away, smooth to drive, smooth in terms of comfort, just a smooth experience all around, which you also want to be able to have. If I hush it for a little bit, it's still loud, but it's not stupid. That's a little bit more restrained and not insanely over the top. However, we've only got a short drive, so we're going to go with that open. We're going to go in manual, and we're going to drop some gears with it still in Sport Plus. You also have the hotkeys, of course, on the steering wheel, which I haven't used, but they're available should I wish. Not even at the red line, because this is obviously a fairly new car, and still the downshift cracks. G Wagons just make cool sounds, and you can probably tell from my reaction that I quite miss mine. This is like my old one on even more steroids. I had some upgrades, software, tune and exhaust, the Akrapovic exhaust in fact, and it was great. But this is completely like, just even the feel, you know, the steering wheel that I'm holding, the look inside it, everything about it. But then you arrive towards town, time to slow down a notch. Some downshifts, hey, it could be worse, right? This is just, it's pure pantomime, and that is something there's not a whole lot of, something that I guess when the EQG, the electric G-Wagon arrives, there's not going to be a whole lot left of, although hopefully long live the V8 in the G-Wagon, fingers, toes and everything else crossed about that. This to drive is just a riot. It's a genuine riot. Those bangs are like gunshots alongside you, and it's all around amazing. It's all around absolutely amazing. I guess with an empty road, I need to try at least one acceleration. So second gear, let's give this a go. Okay. Needless to say, it's plenty quick. I think we can leave it at that. Absolutely ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. That was a flame. This thing fires flames, by the way, out the side. Back when I sold my G-Wagon, I said at the time that one day I'll have another one. Don't know exactly what that will be. The market was massively up at the time and I had some other things coming, so it made sense. I'd owned it for a 3-year period or so and just wanted to change it up a little bit. But there's something about driving a G. The feeling that you have from the seating position, the sound, the look, that retro style looks, they've barely changed in decades, like 5 decades worth. It's still the same box on wheels, almost, you can say, but there's something about it that gives you this sense of invincibility almost, driving a G-Wagon, the raised seating position, the whole feel of the car, the capability of the car, and it's something I definitely crave again in the future. I don't know exactly what that will be, which model, when, whether it's a 4x4 squared or the facelift version or even something along the lines of this, but definitely something at some point because it's just so amazingly cool. It's just pure cool. You drive this thing and you feel like the ultimate boss. You feel like you're in charge of everything and you're just going with it, and almost what happens happens, but enjoy the drive, have fun. And I miss it. I miss driving a G. I miss having a G in the garage. So something has to happen to fix that at some point. Like I say, I don't know what, when, where, why. I'm going to pop this back into auto. In fact, let's go back into comfort mode and just let it chill out for a moment. But the G feeling is quite unique and quite special. And driving this has been genuinely funny. I have loved it, but we're heading back towards Luxury Cars Hamburg now to park this back at base. I'm still beaming from driving that thing, but over to this car, which is a very different spec. And I'm not the biggest fan of black cars. I like color, especially on a car with loads of carbon fiber, because you lose it a little bit against the gloss black. But G-Wagons most commonly are either black, white, gloss or magno, gloss or satin paint. Of course, on here you do have the contrast with the wheels and with this very different interior. And as I mentioned, this car has the Akrapovic exhaust, as per my previous G, which also sounds brilliant and has TÜV, which you need here in Germany. But this, there are a few other details I haven't shown. There are lots of small things that the more you spend looking at it, the more you appreciate it. And of course, it's the iconic G-Wagon styling. So the indicator lights out front, the side pieces that you have, but even just updating these here to have the GCD logo again there. And another thing I really like is down on the side skirts at the base of the arches, both at the back and also at the front, you have the logo, which when you pop open the doors, look at this, they illuminate. Small details, but just very nice that that's directly in sync with the door. Just nice things. And inside, there are plenty more of these Easter eggs, you know, as you go around the car, just things that tie in very well. The interior is German made, all of the leathers and embroideries and details. The car is obviously German designed, and this particular example is really bright, really out there, orange against the grey paint on the exterior, but I'm totally cool with that. I actually quite like it, and I have a craving to do a brightly coloured interior on something at some point, because I tend to go on cars for dark black interiors, maybe with an accent color or with a contrast stitch, but there's something about a really bright interior. You just have to be very careful with color matching. Like, you don't want a blue car with a red interior. Some people do, but maybe it's a bit too much for others. Yellow car with a red interior, McDonald's spec, for example. Anyway, I've enjoyed driving this. Crazy thing, very pleased to have stopped by Luxury Cars Hamburg today to come and drive the German Classic Design GCD 920 and just put a smile back on the face, because it doesn't make sense. Nobody needs over 900 horsepower in a G-Wagon. There's no world where that's logical, but it's not necessarily about that. It's about because you want to. It's the silliness that Lamborghinis used to have and have kind of watered down a little bit now. It's the fact that it's silly, it's out there, it's crazy, it's mad. And in the case of this, it's obviously that exclusivity that something like this brings. They're not exactly being produced in big numbers. So a big thanks to the teams, both from German Classic Design and also from Luxury Cars Hamburg, for the opportunity to drive this today, to share it with you, to have a full look around the car, go through all the details, explore the showroom, see the likes of the 3-litre CSL and plenty more, and get behind the wheel on a cold winter's day enjoying this thing. It's been a monster. That's it for now though. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate your support an awful lot. Make sure to check out plenty more from what's coming with this in the future. That's it for this time though, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.